again to SoulFood Sunday. We've been getting a lot of inboxes asking when we're going to do another cooking demonstration. So here we are once again. Today on SoulFood Sunday, what we're going to do, we're going to prepare chicken and dumplings. We're going to prepare candied yams, fresh spinach, and Brussels sprouts. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and let's get to work in the Soul Food kitchen. The first thing we're going to do our chicken and dumplings. What I have here in this pan, I have one chicken cut up, one whole chicken cut up. Then I have a bunch of chicken wings because I like to mix the dark and the white meat together. So I already have my water boiling here, and this is one of my little secrets I like to do to lessen the time that it has to cook. I like to get my water boiling or rolling boil first. Then I like to put my my seasoning in, okay? And these seasons are to taste, okay? So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to use no salt seasoning. Sprinkle that in. Then we're going to use a little poultry seasoning. And as soon as you start putting these seasonings in, your water will settle down, so don't worry about the water. Then we're going to put black pepper, and I like to use coarse black pepper. Be careful with the coarse black pepper because it is a little bit more spicier than regular pepper. Then we're going to use garlic seasoning powder, garlic powder. Okay, be careful with that because garlic powder is very powerful. Then we're going to use dried chopped onions. And with the chopped onions, you can be as liberal as you want to be with the chopped onions. Then we're going to put all this back here out of our way. Then we're going to take 1 cup of chicken broth. Just give a little bit of kick and a little bit more chicken flavor. So 1 cup of chicken broth. Okay. Then from that point, we're going to put in our chicken. And you want to make sure you use a pot tall enough to where all the chicken will fit. And then also, so when you put your dumplings in, you have enough room for your dumplings. Okay, we got all that in there like that. Okay. Then we want to take that and we want to cover that very tightly. Okay, let us wash our hands because we do not want to cross-contaminate anything while we are cooking. Okay. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to put on our candied yams. And these are my special candied yams that I do. First thing we're going to do, we're going to take 1 tablespoon of butter, put it in the bottom. Kind of stir around, let it melt. Then we're going to put in our yams that have been sliced up. And normally I would cook these in a skillet, but because they're in a pot, we're going to put them in a pot because of time. Then what we're going to do, I take brown sugar and regular sugar, okay, and sprinkle that in like that, in between there, okay. Then we're going to take half of a cup of water, pour in there just to help out a little bit with the steam, okay. Then, this is one of the things I really like. Honey is a natural sweetener, very good. So we're going to take 1/3 cup of honey and put that in there. And also, just a side note, if you have a child that's over the age of 5 or 6 who has allergies, honey, a teaspoon of honey every morning is a very good natural remedy to help with allergies that your child may be having. Just a little side note for you. That's free. Then we're going to take the rest of our potatoes, and we're going to put the rest of our potatoes in there, in our pot. Get them all in there like that. We're going to put the rest of our sugar on top. Then we're going to take another half a teaspoon of margarine or butter. Put it on top. Then we're going to take those and we're going to cover those tightly. Okay? Now, we're moving right along here. Very, very good. Next thing we have is our fresh spinach. I love fresh spinach cooked. Okay? The first thing we're going to do, we have our pot. It's already nice and warm. So we're going to take about 2 pieces of hog jowl and 2 small pieces of salt meat. We're going to put them in our pot first, and we want to let them kind of cook a little bit to release the oil, because that's what the flavor is. The flavor is in the oil. So we want to put those in there like that. Let that do its thing like that. While that's doing that, we're going to come over here and we're going to do the same thing with the pot that we're going to put our Brussels sprouts in. We're going to put it in there. Let that oil begin to release for our Brussels sprouts as well. Come on over here and get a little look at this. We have our meat sauteing in there, and they're coming all together here. And while they're coming together like that, we're going to get ready to put our spinach in there. Okay. So let's first put our Brussels sprouts in. And these are just Brussels sprouts. We'll pour them in like that. And those Brussels sprouts, we're going to put a little salt.
This one.
A little salt. A little black pepper, and then I like putting a softened chicken bouillon, just for a little flavor. Oops, on the top. On the top. Okay, now for our spinach, we're going to pour a 16-ounce glass of water. Okay. All right, let's put our spinach in. And if you have too much spinach in, what you can do, you can let it cook a little bit and let it cook down, and then add the rest of your spinach in there. It doesn't take spinach very long to cook it off. Now, one thing we're not going to do with this spinach, we are not going to put any salt in here, because of the simple fact we have the salt meat, which is already in the spinach, which should give it more than enough salt. Okay, now we got the spinach in there. We're going to cover it tightly. Get in there. Let's put our top on our Brussels sprouts, and we're going to let all that sit there. We're going to let this simmer. We're going to let this cook in. Okay. Now, we're going to take just a small break, and when we come back, we're going to make our dessert for today. We got a fabulous dessert today. We're going to make a homemade pound cake, and we're going to make it into a rectangle pan, Pyrex dish, and once it gets done, we're going to take whipping cream and fresh strawberries, cut it in half, put it in between, put it on top, and make it really good in the Soul Food Kitchen. So give us a few minutes. We'll come back and we're going to do our dessert, and we're also going to make our homemade dumplings for our chicken, going our chicken. So we'll be right back in the Soul Food kitchen. Okay, everything is looking good in the kitchen today. The kitchen is really on fire today, all right? So now what we're going to do, before we get to our dumpling mix, we're going to stop. We're going to make our dessert for the day and get it in the oven. And this is my homemade butter pound cake. And it's a very simple pound cake that anybody can do. All right? First thing you want to do, you want to preheat your oven at 375 degrees. Then in your mixing bowl, what you want to do, you want to first of all put your butter in, which we're going to use 2 sticks of butter. And preferably we want to use sweet cream, unsalted butter is what we want to use. Okay. Let's get our mixer turned on here. Turn on about 7 or 8. You want to kind of break that butter up first with your mixer. Okay, then once you got that one broke up, you want to take, you will have 2 cups of sugar. You want to pour the sugar in. You want to blend it together because you want this nice and fluffy. Slow it down just a little bit. Then you want to take 4 cups of flour. And our featured product today is the Swan Done cake flour. Is what we're putting in here. You want to get it blended in. Come a little closer, and I'll show you what it should look like. It should look almost kind of crumbly, like it is now. And when it gets like that, you want to add your baking powder and your salt. And let's get that mixed in there. Then, let that just turn by itself. You want to take 4 eggs. Okay. Then you want to take a cup of milk.
Go.
Okay, now we're almost through our cake. What we're going to do now, we're going to add one of our featured ingredients, which is Watkins double strength artificial vanilla flavor. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Watkins. Let's turn our speed up. Let's get that blended in. Okay. Let's get that turned off. Now we're going to put this in our rectangle shaped Pyrex. This is a very easy cake to make. If you say you don't cook and you can't cook, this is really a hard cake to mess up. It's so simple. It's called a 1, 2, 3, 4, but of course I added my own stuff to it, which I changed to my basic butter pound cake. We get this all spread out nice and even. One thing you do to make sure it's even, shake it. Now we're going to put this in the oven. Now let's get all this out of our way very quickly. We're going to wipe this down. Now we're going to make up what we need to make up for our dumpling mix. Okay. First we got about 3 cups of flour, 2 or 3 cups of flour. Then we're going to put in about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of salt. Then we're going to put in about 2 tablespoons of shortening.
Go.
Shortening is in. Then you want to take either a spoon or a fork or a pastry cutter, and you want to cut your margin in. I mean, not your margin, but your shortening. Cut your shortening in until it gets almost crumbly like. Now, one of my keys to my dumplings is I use ice cold water. So we're going to pour in ice cold water. Now it's beginning to come together. Let's pour in a little bit more. Let's get it shaped into like a ball. Now, once we get that done, we're going to take flour, let's spread our flour out on our table. Dump this on there, knead it down. Now, the key to really good dumplings is to roll them out very, very thin. Okay? We're going to cut half of this in half, put it back in our pan, our bowl rather. And we want to roll this out thin. Then once you get it rolled out thin, take a knife, put that there like that. Just want to cut your dumpling in strips to the size and width that you desire. And sometimes I cut them back in half like that. Okay? Now, we're going to let those sit there because our chicken is not ready quite yet. We're going to cut out some more. While you go away, we're going to cut out some more dumplings. When we come back, we're going to dump our dumplings and our chicken over there, and we'll have chicken and dumplings. So we'll be right back.
Go.
Hey, welcome back. We're here back in the Soul Food Kitchen to finish up our dinner for today. We're going to drop our dumplings in our chicken and broth here, and we want to let it get to a roaring boil because we don't want those dumplings to take too long to cook. So as you bring it to a roaring boil, just take your dumplings that we've already rolled out and cut up, make those extra thin. Just start to drop them in. There is no certain order to drop them in. You do want to make sure they're good and separated when you drop them in. You don't want to drop 2 or 3 of them in at one time. Just keep dropping them in there. They'll start to roll around. You do want to make sure you have enough water in your pot as well. Now you can buy dumplings in the store already made, and they're pretty good. I just prefer to make my own dumplings. Just a whole lot more fun for me to make mine, and just a whole lot more authentic. But the dumplings in the store, they are good, and they will do the trick just as well. Turn your fire up on high and just keep putting them in there. And at this point, you add as much and or as less dumplings as you want to put in your chicken. Me, I like a lot of dumplings. Most people in my home like a lot of dumplings. So I just like putting in a lot of dumplings. And dumplings are really a way that our ancestors used to stretch a meal or to give a meal a little bit different flavor from the next day. Turn that down just a little bit there. Okay, while those dumplings are cooking and doing their thing, we're going to prepare our dessert before we plate everything up. And
Go.
we have our spinach, potatoes, Brussels sprouts, and then the star of our dinner. Whoa. Our chicken and dumplings, and for our dessert, our strawberry on the cloud between our pound cake. So once again, We thank you all for tuning in to the Soul Food Kitchen. We hope you enjoyed everything on today. And remember, whenever you're cooking, always cook with soul.